Matthew chapter 5, verses 21 to 26. The Gehenna of fire, I changed it from the murder in the heart. The Greek word that we are going to be studying is number 3710, to provoke to anger, orgizomai. And the Greek grammatical structure will be the particle as we've had in the last two videos. It begins in verse 21. Ikusate oti erethi tis archeis. You have heard that it was said to the ancients, and the oti is a conjunction, a particle conjunction. And the ancients are like the patriarchs, Abraham or Moses, so forth. U phonevsis, you shall not murder. That was in Exodus 20, verse 13. God gave Moses that commandment for the people. Os thean phonevsi, anokos este te krisi. And there we have two particles, and the day without the epsilon, because it's followed by a vowel with the next word. So the accent is put there for a missing letter. Whoever should murder will be liable to the judgment. Liable. If you're liable, it means you're legally answerable. And to the judgment, so it would be a judge of some sort. Doesn't say anything about a jury. 522, ego they, lego imin. But I say to you, now he's going to say something different. And the day is it postpositive, and the leg, lambda, epsilon, gamma, have to do with speech. But I say to you, otipas o orgizomenos to adelpho avtu, iki enokos este te krisi. That all, and there's another particle, conjunction, carries it on, that all, provoking to anger. There's our key word. His brother in vain shall be liable to the judgment. In vain is the key here, not just provoking your brother, but over something, over nothing, basically. And if you're doing that, which a brother here, is it literal brother or is it a figurative brothers, like the brothers of the Lord? Well, they haven't really formed yet, but whether Jesus is using this word or the people use this word for people that were not literally blood brothers, but others that are close to him, I'm not sure. I'd have to go check in the Old Testament more. But so anybody that's provoking his brother shall be liable to the judgment. Well, okay, what kind of judgment? It doesn't really say anything really too bad. So this would be not a strict judgment, provoking your anger in vain, which is a bad thing, but not a strict judgment. Then the next one is two particles, os thean epi to adelpho avtu, and whoever should say to his brother, raka, enokos este to Sanhedrio, worthless, shall be liable to the Sanhedrin, government officials. Still not real high up on the plane of judgment. And worthless is a little bit worse than provoking your brother in anger, I'm guessing. And you're going to be liable then to the Sanhedrin. The next one, os thean epi more, enokos este istin Gehennan to Pyros. And whoever should say, a moronic one, which isn't real bad, shall be liable for the Gehenna of fire, the worst punishment. Now, what I see here, Jesus is saying, is that God holds a higher expectation than man does. You can get away with doing these other things which are worse than just calling a person a moronic one, but God, no, you're not going to get away with even the smallest things, the smallest infractions. You're going to be liable for the Gehenna of fire. And the Gehenna of fire, the Gehenna was thought to be the place that they burned the trash in Jerusalem, in the valley of Kidron, the southern part below the wall of Jerusalem. And they also burned sacrifices, their children, to Moloch there. So whichever one it is, was a terrible place. And the people at that time knew that what he's talking about is basically Hades. So now going back up to provoking to anger his brother, argizomene. In first place I could find where that word was used was with Jacob being provoked at Laban, who cheated him from his wages. And that was in Genesis 31:36. In Genesis 40, verse 2, Pharaoh and his eunuchs. Pharaoh was provoked to anger over his eunuchs, put him in jail, the baker and the wine taster. In Exodus 32:19, Moses was provoked over the people when he went down from the mountain, saw them bowing down to the calf that Aaron made. He broke the tablets. Now, being provoked to anger over something righteous is one thing, but here it was in vain, over nothing. But in Matthew 8:34, we see, it says, and being provoked to anger, his master delivered him to the tormentors, until of which he should give back all being owed to him. And that was the unforgiving servant who the master forgave thousands of dollars, and the servant went out and demanded this man who owed him a couple of dollars to give him the money or he'd throw him in jail. Then later in Matthew 22:7, a king, it says, and having heard, that king was provoked to anger, that the people of that city killed the ones he sent. And having sent forth his military, he destroyed those murderers, and their city he burned. So the punishment of provoking to anger God is not good. This is what the king and the master, I believe, refer to. In Ephesians 4:25-27, it says, therefore, having put aside the lie, let us each speak truth with his neighbor. For we are members of one another. But be you angry, then do not let the sun set upon the provocation of your anger, nor give place to the devil. So we are not to be provoked over our brother. We are to find a way to make peace with him. And it continues on down where we were, and it says, if ean un prosperis to doron su epi to thesiasterion, and if then you should offer your gift offering upon the altar, if you do a religious act, ean un, if makes it a question, and un, then, if, well, otherwise it could be something else, but this is if then, you do something religious, ke aki menisthis, oti o adelphos su, ekiti katasu, and there, in religious, doing something religious, you should remember oti, and it continues with a conjunction particle, that, remember that your brother has something against you, so you have a bigger problem. You're trying to do a religious thing with God, but you have a problem with other people. And so if you have a problem of hatred towards somebody, dislike, or something just saying bad things to them, then those three ideals that Jesus mentioned are all worthy of some type of a judgment, but the worst is the judgment of God. And we don't want to be judged by God and thrown into Gehenna, which later we see is prison, hell, Hades. So it's very important for us to have an attitude of consolation towards other people, to be open to whatever would satisfy the other person that would be fair to both. So then, if you do remember this, Aphis εκεί το δωρόν σου εμπρόσθεν του θυσιαστηρίου. Leave there your gift offering before the altar. So basically, if you're doing a religious act and you realize you had done something wrong, take care of business rather than doing a religious act. Και υπάγε πρώτον διαλλάγηθη το αδελφό σου. So go away, then first to reconcile to your brother, και τότε ελθόν προσφέρει το δώρον σου, and then having come offer your gift offering. So the reconcile is right here, first reconcile, and that means to cause to coexist in harmony, or to restore friendly relations. The relations are so important. Other religions have eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth, or vengeance, bloodshed. You did this, and so you deserve to die. And that is not what a Christian is to do. This is, interestingly, why a lot of, I believe, other religions come against Christianity, because it's so different, and it's so peaceful, and lifting up your brother and not having one person over another person, more important, you're being more important than other people, where these other religions, many of them, they want that first, and it's not conducive to Christianity, so they don't like Christianity. In verse 25, it continues, Isti evnuon to antidikos su taki. Be well disposed towards your opponent quickly. Evnuon is always good, eulogy, good words. And non is a mind or a thought, good thoughts towards your opponent quickly to solve the problem. Eos unto tu e ento otho medav tu, unto wherever you are in the way with him. So now what he's trying to get across here is, while you are alive, I believe you need to deal with problems with other people and with God, not when it's too late. Because once it's too late and you're dead and you haven't done these things, then you're going to be faced with the judgment in Gehenna. Because he says, Mipote se paratho o antidikos to kriti, lest at any time your opponent should deliver you up to the judge, and basically the judgment of God with sin. Ke o kriti se paratho to ipareti, and the judge should deliver you up to the officer. And the officers are the angels, we're told in other places. God, being the judge, was going to deliver you up to the angels, and what? Ke is philakin vlithisi, and he should throw you into prison. angel and the prison is where you're going to go. So be well disposed to have good mind, good thoughts, take care of the business of anybody that's against you or you're against somebody like that. And once you're dead, it's too late to do any of these things, because he says then finally, Amen, which is a transliteration particle. Lego si, I say to you, the leg, umi, another negative particle, should you come forth. Lego si, umi, exelthis, ekethan, eos an, apodos, ton eschaton, kodrantin. And no way should you come forth from there until whenever you should deliver over the last quadrants. Now, this is the only place that I can think of where it refers somewhat to Hades. If you're in Hades, you're going to be there until you can deliver over the last quadrants. And it's here in prison, you could possibly get out by paying the fine or paying the debt that you owe. But later, it's an inextinguishable fire with Gehenna, and it's never going to stop, and you're not going to get out. But you can, in the human element of the judicial system. So once you're dead, that's all over. Make peace now while you can with the person that you're having problems with. You can do it. Or just go to them or call them up or email them or text them and try your best, whatever it takes, to make amends with the person. Next, adultery begins in the heart. Now we do have heart in this title here.